Hello and welcome. My name is Drifter, and today I'll be finishing up World of Darkness Part 4. If you haven't seen Parts 1, 2, or 3, I'd highly recommend you click the links in the description. Otherwise, this will seem very, very illogical, but we're going to be picking up right where we left off. And we're gonna fast forward. We're gonna skip some boring things here. My good friend Guy took me to a sketchy part of town and helped me buy a fake ID. The guy selling me the fake ID may or may not have known that we were humans, but he didn't seem to care just so long as Guy had money. I have a feeling I kind of bankrupted all of his savings. He manages to help me get a job at the library with a good referral, and because I'm a bright fellow and I can, work at the library, I managed to get a job. I mean, it's a low-end job. It's like not tremendously better than minimum wage, but hey, it's much better than being dead. And I managed to buy food from the black market. They do have a black market just like any society. They use this food as human bait, kind of like, like Chinese people will buy like rhino horn as an aphrodisiac, like a penis enhancer, or like, oh, this salt lick will attract deer. Well, some people are kind of paranoid about human attacks, so they have this human bait and human traps. So I buy food as human bait. Some of them have it as decoration to remind them of when they were human, or some more artistic things. And they're just a little bit of gardening, decorative gardening, but some of those things are edible. So I save the seeds, I grow my own stuff in the house, I buy what little food I can, and I start using my library skills to learn about their culture, pop culture and otherwise. I actually have to learn about vampire pop culture because I have to pretend I'm a part of this world. I can't answer always with I've never seen this, I've never read this, I've never heard of this, because it's going to get really awkward. I learned the history, which is kind of like an alternate human history. That's kind of like they all turned to vampires in the Middle Ages and they've been running the world ever since then. And technology is actually a little bit stagnant because they live forever. They don't need to progress too much more. I blend in even more, and I learn how to, we'll say, cook blood, so to speak, to cover up any smells that I have, because I know that as a human, if I cut my nail a little bit, if I stub my toe, if I have an ulcer in my mouth, if I get a bloody nose, if I accidentally nick myself, I'm going to smell like blood. And I thought it would be a good idea to always smell like blood anyway, so that nobody would think twice about it. So I'm like a blood chef, right? And I don't eat or drink the stuff, but I bring it into the library and give it away to my coworkers, get brownie points too. They like me, and they consider me a great chef, but always aloof. I'm kind of like that awkward guy, like Dexter bringing donuts. The donuts are nice, but Dexter's always just kind of a little bit weird, and I'm always turning down the advances of this one particular vampire girl that works in the library. Apparently she likes nerdy, mysterious, human-looking dudes, and that was me. So, but I know that I can't go on a date with this girl, right? Like, I can't have a relationship with this vampire girl because I'm evil and I'm a monster and it's going to blow my cover and all this kind of stuff. And at this point in the story, we're going to slow down a little bit. We're going to scale it back from that kind of summary and go down to some things that are actually happening in real time. I've been living in the vampire world for 2, 3, maybe 4 months now. It's getting kind of blurry to me. I can't keep track of time very well. I'm on their sleep schedule. I sleep during the day, and I'm starting to get paranoid and angry. It's really starting to settle in that this isn't temporary, that I'm really not going home, that I'm really stuck here, that nobody knows what's happening, that I have to be really particular about my cover because I make one mistake and I'm dead. I felt like I read every book in that library and not a single one of them had anything useful. My friend Guy told me they wouldn't, but I did anyway. And my cover is always being pushed by my odd behavior, just little things that I don't do, having to get food all the time, which is spending my money on weird things, people asking me on dates and I decline. They're immortal vampires, right? They bang a lot, they go out a lot. It's weird that I'm always declining, or that I can stay up a little bit later or relatively earlier than other people, and the sunlight doesn't seem to make me as angry as others, and I always feel as if I am on the very verge of being discovered, of being sold out and being killed immediately on sight. So I start getting a little paranoid, and I decide to go back to the black market again, and this is where I shoot myself in the foot. And I want to order poison, which is garlic. And I managed to get my order, and they're like, they'll get it to me in a day or two. This really sketchy guy shows up at my super cheap vampire apartment. I'm like poverty living here. I'm just like broke, like just barely above projects, no furniture, uncomfortable bed, no TV kind of thing. And he delivers me some sad looking garlic cloves. And he tells me that he doesn't usually deal in poisons, but his friend had this, and he kind of wanted to know who I was going to kill, so he would know that if it was like anybody important, he could make a move on their territory or whatever. And I tell him that who I plan to poison is need to know information. I pay him and send him on his way. And that's when I realize he's one of the first people to ever actually see inside my house, and he might have seen my little indoor garden. He might have seen that I didn't have a whole lot of blood sitting around, or that I was probably really weird looking. But I'm thinking to myself, hey, you know, he's breaking the law too, selling poison and other drugs and stuff like this. And is he really going to tell on me and get himself busted? Did he even see and does he even understand what I'm doing? It's just a decorative garden, right? I grind the garlic into little powder, just lots and lots of garlic powder. And I hide the powder in various well-sealed places, little glass jars, little pieces of paper, plastic. Put some in water, stir it up, made garlic water. And I put it all over the house, try and get the smell out so it doesn't smell like poison. So kind of every room in the house has a little booby trap on it. I'm just really hoping this guy didn't sell me out. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna go to sleep on my couch. Not my couch, my uncomfortable bed. And I go to sleep, and I'm not asleep very long when I start hearing heavy footsteps outside my door, like really loud, heavy footsteps. I'm like, what is there like a parade in my hallway? And I didn't even have time to think before my front door of the apartment is kicked in with like that big ram thing, like that big black thing that police use to smash in doors. And all these guys in black visors and black suits just charge in. They're covered head to toe, no faces, no nothing, can't see anything. And I realized just in my little crazy panic, this is the anti-human police. This is my ass on the line. I'm about to get busted. But thankfully, I have garlic in every room, so I'm just doing garlic attacks, right? Like I'm flinging garlic powder at them, I'm splashing them with water, I'm blowing it in their faces, and if they breathe it in, they start choking on it. It burns their skin. The water really messes up. It disorients them. It's like bear spray X a million. I don't really like garlic in my face either, but it's all kinds of hell for them, and it wrecks them. It actually kills a few when they breathe it in. And that's like, I'm kind of like in my underwear with no shoes, like my pajamas and my shirt, and I don't have time for anything. I just make a break for the stairwell where they're all choking. I'm running as fast as I can all the way down the couple stories, and I'm about to go out the front door of the apartment. And as I open the front door, I realize there's an all blacked out police cruiser sitting out front. Now the police cruiser itself is pretty normal looking, like our world, but the windows on it are 100% blackout, like the blackest of blackout you've ever seen. And as soon as I look at it, they open the door, and there's like 3 or 4 of me with these guys in full black suits coming. It's daytime right now, okay? So it's daytime, and these vampires are coming out in the day in black suits, fully protected. And I know during the day they're not doing well. Like vampires hate being out during the day. It's super slow, it's crushing, it's brutal, but they can do it, and they're not going to burn up. And there's so many of them. I've obviously been ratted out. There's obviously a plan, and I'm panicking, and I don't know what to do. I turn around, and there's even more of them behind me. Like they came in from a different direction. It's like a whole vampire SWAT team coming to get me, and they all charge me with these cattle tasers and start tackling me and tasing me over and over. And it seems like they want to capture me alive. They're not going for the kill shots, but they're trying to like handcuff me and tase me, and they're all piling on me, and I feel like I'm being crushed in like this vampire sandwich. And I'm starting to get a little bit loosey. You know, I can't quite tell what's going on. And then I feel like a weight is being lifted from me, and I think to myself, this is what dying feels like. And then the weight keeps going off, and I hear some screaming and some smacking and punching and something cracking. And I try to get up, but I've been tased too much and crushed, and I fall and I roll over, and I look to see that almost all of them are on the ground, either dead or dying or suffering. And there's some person with 2 police batons beating the absolute tar out of the last one, manages to knock it just KO right to the ground. And I realize this is a female person with 2 police batons, and I'm so blurry I can't keep track of what's going on. She runs over to me and tries to pick me up, and just before I pass out, I'm able to look over and realize it is the same Spanish lady from the airport that I gave my blood to, and that's when I pass out. I wake up sometime later. I have no idea how much time has passed. I'm super groggy, and I realize I'm in the police cruiser that was sitting out front, and I feel like absolute hell because I've been beat up and suffocated and tased a bunch of times. One of the worst feelings, and like every muscle in my body hurts. And the police cruiser is moving. She's driving me somewhere, and this Spanish lady is sitting there in the seat, and I don't know what's going on. And I ask her, like, you know, what the hell's going on here? And she explains to me, and I don't remember the exact conversation, I'm not going to try to do voices here, that she's human now, and she's taking me to meet the underground human resistance. And I'm like, what, WTF, mate? How are you human now? And I didn't think that there was an underground human resistance. I thought there were almost no free humans left. And I get a little bit more cognizant, and she starts explaining a little bit more. She said that somehow me giving her my blood turned her human. It was a slow change, but it was a change, and she eventually became human. And that never happened before. Like, never in the history of vampire world here has anybody ever been turned back from a vampire. This is a world-changing event. This is a really big deal, and it was really hard for her at first. She was scared. She didn't know how to be human, but she adapted and she survived, and she mostly survived with the help of the underground human movement. They managed to rescue her and kind of recruit her into their organization. And she told the story, and they managed to corroborate, I think that's the correct word, collaborate, that is different, and they were very interested in me. If I could change one vampire back, maybe I could change them all back, but ever since the airport incident, they assumed that I died. Everybody else died at the airport, and I ran off into the forest in a cold night, and they never heard from me again. The government never said anything. They just assumed they killed me and just kind of covered it up. But on that particular day, the stupid poison salesman ratted me out to the police for a reward. I don't know, the sketchy dudes do sketchy stuff. And they heard a dispatch going out for a person matching my description. And that was what just tipped her off, and she made it there just in time to rescue me. And it was all very confusing, very disorienting, and I asked her, I was like, okay, well, how does my blood turn her human again? Like, don't vampires drink blood, and you just drank blood, so wouldn't they always be turning back human? And she said that they have different theories. They said that maybe since I'm from a different world, different blood will do different things, or that maybe giving blood is somehow magically different than taking it, or their favorite conspiracy that the farmed blood is being controlled by the evil vampire government to keep them subservient, to remove choice from their lives. I don't know anything about this, and I'm also confused as to why she's not angry. Why are you not furious at me? You had a good thing going with your security gig. I ruined your life. I made you mortal. You can die now. And she actually looks up to me, and she's kind of happy looking. She looks at me like I'm some kind of a hero or romantic figure, and she tells me that meeting me was the best thing that ever happened in her life, minus the ribs breaking, and that being human feels better than being a vampire. It makes you feel more alive, more energetic. Your senses are enhanced. It's almost like being high in a way. You feel like you're actually in this world doing things instead of grinding through it, and that you have a purpose in life. Because the bad thing about being a vampire is that it dulls your senses in more ways than one, not only physically, but since you're immortal, you get stagnant. You do the same thing over and over and over. Jobs are slow. There's no upward mobility. There's no meaning in romance. There's no meaning in reproduction. All the things that we are hardwired from birth to value no longer have meaning, and the entire existence becomes a grind. It becomes very boring, and that by turning human, she remembered what it was to actually be alive again. And that is where I woke up, and the dream was over. I wish I had some more awesome stuff to tell you, but I don't. I woke up on my way to meet the underground human resistance, and I think it's a pretty neat story. I actually considered writing it down or maybe expanding, like making up some extra chapters after this point. I think it could be very interesting. But guys, you tell me what you think. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.